ในตอนเจาะลึกข้อมูลวันนี้ we're diving into something that's practically invisible to most of us, yet it's literally the physical foundation of the entire generative AI revolution. I mean, while everyone's busy talking about the latest and greatest language models, the actual mechanics, the real heavy lifting, is hidden away in raw compute power and, well, electricity. So today, we're going to explore this massive infrastructure shift that's powering this new era, and we'll look at the sudden rise of a fascinating new class of companies known as Neoclouds.
To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this modern AI gold rush, just take a look at this absolutely staggering projection. By the year 2031, the market for this specialized AI infrastructure is expected to approach $400 billion. $400 billion. We are quite literally witnessing the single largest infrastructure investment cycle in human history right now. It is fundamentally rewriting the entire playbook on how data centers are built, how they're funded, and how they're operated.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We've got a lot of fascinating ground to cover today. We're going to start with the AI infrastructure crisis, figure out exactly what a neocloud is, and map out the main players on the battlefield. After that, we'll look at how energy has become the true moat, explore this weird frenemy relationship these startups have with the hyperscalers, and finally, we'll peer into the future of compute.
All right, Section 1, the AI infrastructure crisis, or the compute bottleneck.
So, when generative AI hit the scene, its intense power demands pretty much instantly overwhelmed traditional data centers, creating this unprecedented capacity gap. You see, standard data centers were built for normal cloud servers, but AI requires high-performance parallel computing and just massive power densities that legacy systems simply weren't designed to handle. Just look at these revenue numbers. In late 2025, Neocloud saw an astonishing 223% year-over-year growth, pushing the market past $25 billion. And honestly, that is just the tip of the iceberg on our way to that $400 billion mark. The traditional tech giants just couldn't build fast enough to keep up.
Which brings us to Section 2. What is a Neocloud? Meet the new landlords of AI. Because the traditional guys couldn't keep up, that massive void in the market was rapidly filled by a new breed of really agile startups. So what exactly is a neocloud? By definition, it's purpose-built, high-performance computing cloud infrastructure focused exclusively, and I mean exclusively, on providing GPU as a service for AI workloads. Essentially, this is all about delivering bare metal performance, giving you direct access to the hardware without any of the bulky legacy cloud baggage. They just strip away the hundreds of unnecessary services you'd find in traditional clouds and focus entirely on really dense GPU clusters.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Think of traditional hyperscalers, your AWS, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure, kind of like giant department stores. They've got complex rules, thousands of different items, and tons of shared resources. Neoclouds, on the other hand, are more like specialized armories. They offer dense GPU clusters, blazing high-speed networks, and that raw bare metal speed we just talked about. No distractions, just pure, frictionless performance.
But here is where it gets really fascinating. The true innovation here isn't just the silicon itself, it's the financial engineering behind it. I mean, GPUs used to just be electronics that depreciated super quickly, right? Well, not anymore. Now, they are treated as highly bankable industrial assets, or hardware-backed private credit. Neoclouds secure what are called take-or-pay contracts. That basically means clients pay upfront whether they actually use the compute or not. And these guaranteed cash flows, they allow the neoclouds to secure massive delayed draw term loans. Basically, the financial world is treating AI chips exactly the same way banks treat commercial airplanes. It's an absolutely brilliant financial twist.
Moving on to Section 3, the main player's battlefield, differentiating the pickaxe sellers in this gold rush.
With such a massive influx of capital, the market has completely exploded with specialized pickaxe sellers. Let's methodically walk through this matrix, because everyone has a unique angle. CoreWeave is the absolute behemoth of the group. They're operating like a true hyperscaler with over 250,000 GPUs. Then you have Nebius, the AI architect, boasting an incredibly efficient power usage effectiveness, or PUE, of 1.13 over in Europe, which essentially means almost zero energy is wasted. Crusoe is the power master, literally using stranded gas at oil wells to power their servers. It's wild. Nscale focuses on sovereign AI using 100% renewable energy up in the Nordics. Lambda? They're the developer's favorite, offering a totally frictionless environment with zero egress fees. And finally, Iron, who pivoted from crypto mining to totally dominate physical assets, securing nearly 3 gigawatts of power.
And if you want to know just how crucial these players are right now, well, look at these staggering contract numbers. OpenAI and Meta have committed tens of billions to CoreWeave.
Microsoft alone has signed deals worth over $40 billion combined across Nebius, Nscale, and Iron. I mean, these numbers are just huge. Big tech companies are desperately relying on these agile startups just to keep pace in the AI arms race.
Which leads us directly into Section 4, energy as the true moat and the absolute war for gigawatts.
So the crucial point here, and this is the ultimate plot twist, is that the real bottleneck today isn't actually getting your hands on silicon chips, it's electricity. Power is the ultimate defensive moat in this industry. If you want to build a high-density AI data center, you are going to hit 3 massive roadblocks. Number 1, interconnection queues. Just getting high-voltage power approved can trap you in legal reviews for 5 to 7 years. Second, you have transmission lines, which involve incredibly complex regulations, civic delays, and endless environmental reviews. And third, even if you miraculously get the power, there are severe global supply chain shortages for the high-voltage transformers and cooling equipment you actually need inside the facility.
Because of all these insane hurdles, whoever controls behind-the-meter power is the one who wins. And innovators are getting really creative about bypassing grid limitations altogether. Like we mentioned, Irene is leveraging old crypto mining sites to secure incredibly cheap power. We're talking just 3.3 cents per kilowatt hour. Nebius and Nscale are tapping into Nordic hydropower and literally using the freezing outside air for natural cooling. But get this, Crusoe isn't just converting flared methane gas anymore, they are legitimately planning an orbital data center. Yes, you heard that right, they are looking at literally putting AI compute in space by 2027 to just completely bypass Earth's grid and cooling limitations. How crazy is that?
All right, Section 5, hyperscalers as frenemies, and the paradox of big tech.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that there's a highly contradictory dynamic playing out in the market right now. Think about it. Microsoft, Meta, Google, these are the biggest companies on the planet. They have near infinite resources. So why on earth is a massive giant like Microsoft out there renting tens of billions of dollars worth of GPUs from startups? Well, it all comes down to time and balance sheets. Basically, renting from Neoclouds is a total mercenary tactic. Big tech needs to launch their new AI features right now, today. They simply cannot afford to wait 5 whole years in a grid queue to build their own megacenters. By outsourcing to these Neoclouds, who already have the land and power secured, big tech buys themselves immediate speed to market. And at the same time, they get to shift massive capital expenditures off their balance sheets, turning them into operational expenses. It's a win-win for them in the short term.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a massive, looming threat. Because right now, say through 2026, hyperscalers are happily funding Neoclouds, acting as their absolute biggest clients. But fast forward to 2028 or 2029, and a massive strategic pivot point hits. By then, the tech giants will have finally finished building their own next-generation data centers, and they'll be loaded up with their own custom-built AI chips, like that rumored Meta Compute initiative. Almost overnight, the Neocloud's biggest, most lucrative customers are inevitably going to transform into their most dangerous direct competitors.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, the future of compute and how these startups plan on surviving the next decade. So how do these agile startups actually survive beyond that 2029 pivot point? Well, Neoclouds face 3 huge structural risks they have to manage. First up is technological obsolescence. If NVIDIA keeps releasing a shiny new chip every single year, the massive debt these startups tied to their older hardware could suddenly become toxic as rental rates for older chips just plummet. Second, supplier concentration. They are extremely, almost uncomfortably, over-reliant on NVIDIA right now. And third, margin compression. With so much money flooding into this space, we could easily see overcapacity and some pretty brutal price wars. To survive all of this, Neoclouds can't just act like landlords renting out bare chips. They have to deeply integrate their own proprietary software, like advanced token-metered Kubernetes orchestration, to really lock developers in and prevent this whole thing from becoming a race to the bottom.
Ultimately, the war for the next decade isn't just going to be about who has the smartest AI models. It's going to be about who can most efficiently turn raw electricity into compute power. So I want to leave you with this thought. When the hyperscalers finally launch their own massive custom chip data centers at the end of the decade, who is truly going to control the physical infrastructure of our next digital era? Are these agile Neoclouds going to hold their ground, or is big tech just going to reclaim the throne?
ขอบคุณที่ติดตามรับชมแล้วพบกันใหม่ในตอนหน้า